Hearing loss and tinnitus. Let's get into it. Hello, friends. I'm Dr. Maria Morrison, audiologist and tinnitus specialist. I'm your expert in hearing healthcare. Now, there is maybe some confusion when it comes to tinnitus and hearing loss and treating or not treating, so let's just get into it. If you have tinnitus, it doesn't necessarily mean you have a hearing loss. And if you have a hearing loss, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get tinnitus. I see lots of hearing loss patients that don't have tinnitus, and I see lots of tinnitus patients that don't have a hearing loss. Now, if you have bothersome tinnitus and you have an untreated hearing loss, the number one recommendation is going to be first treat your hearing loss. And the reason being is when we don't stimulate our brain with sound, it can begin to emit its own sound. There's lots of studies done on this where you take patients and you put them in an anechoic chamber. It's a very, very quiet room. Within 10 minutes, patients with normal hearing who have never heard tinnitus before will start to say they hear a sound, right? So we know that when our brain's not being stimulated properly, it will begin to make its own sound. So that's why it is important that if you have an untreated hearing loss and you have bothersome tinnitus, you definitely want to first treat the hearing loss. 60% of patients who get the hearing aids, who treat the hearing loss, will report improvement in their tinnitus. Now, for those 40%, so maybe you have a hearing loss, but you already have hearing aids and you still have bothersome tinnitus, that's when you want to start working with a tinnitus specialist, right? You can Google tinnitus specialist near me. If you live in the United States, you can go to ata.org and look for a tinnitus specialist in your area. You can also check out the free resources I have in the link in my bio. So there are things that you can do to reduce the impact tinnitus is having on your life. You don't have to just live with it. You don't have to suffer with it. Trust me, I've been there. I've had tinnitus since 2007. It was very bothersome in the beginning, and I am on the other end of it. There is a way to get here. The reason tinnitus is bothersome is not because you hear this sound. We hear sounds all the time that don't bother us. The reason it's bothersome is because of how your brain has categorized tinnitus. It has categorized it as a threat. So it wants to pay attention to it. It wants to keep it at the forefront. We need to rewire your brain to realize that tinnitus is not important and it can be habituated to. It can be pushed into the background, just like the refrigerator fan in your kitchen. All right, friends, please, if you have any questions, leave those in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll get back to you. Bye-bye.